れでどうじゃこれでどうじゃ
Greetings collectors and welcome to a special two-part episode. Today I'm taking a look back at the Dungeons and Dragons collection for the Sega Saturn. The collection consists of the two Capcom arcade hits, Tower of Doom and Shadow over Mystara. The collection comes in a very well presented double dual game case. The artwork is very much in line with other D&D products and the overall impression of quality is very high. The rear of the box is fairly standard with the expected screenshots. With this being a Japanese exclusive, it's fair to say that the text is a brief game synopsis and that the 4MB memory card expansion is supported. Inside the case you find a registration card as well as a spine card. Both game discs, Tower of Doom and Shadow of Mystara are very well presented with hand-drawn characters from the games and the D&D branding. There is a single manual to cover both games. It's both bright and well printed. The manual covers all the basics from the story to the movesets. Before we go into the gameplay, I'd just like to say that I'm not an expert on the Dungeons and Dragons universe. I've seen the 1980s cartoons and understand the basic rules and premise of the role-playing game itself. That's about as far as my knowledge goes, so the rest of this review is really very much from the point of view of a game collector. In this episode we're focusing on the first game, Tower of Doom. Originally a 1993 arcade game, Tower of Doom saw its exclusive home release on the Sega Saturn. Although the game is largely faithful to the original, there are a few minor changes and adaptations. The most notable being that the game now only supports up to 2 players. The game's backstory is that the Republic of Dorokin has been attacked by monsters. To save the kingdom, 4 adventurers must seek and destroy Archlich Deimos, the game's main villain. As the adventurers progress through their mission, they must end up at Deimos' Tower of Doom to defeat him. As the player you can select from one of 4 classes: Fighter, Elf, Cleric or Dwarf. In classic D&D style there's a trade-off with each class. Some are faster than others, whilst others are able to wield more damage, have better ranged attacks, or increased life or magic. Really it's a case of testing out the characters and seeing what fits your playstyle. Similar to earlier beat-em-ups, the game very much reminds me of Sega's Golden Axe. You'll be travelling through villages, fighting goblins, ghouls and other monsters from the D&D universe. Each character has a basic attack, but you can also perform special moves as well as using magic. A nice mechanic was the use of the X button. This allows the player to scroll through their inventory. So one minute you can be throwing an axe, but next you'll throw an oil lamp. If you have limited Japanese language, it's best to memorise a few of the symbols so you have some idea of which you're going to be using next. Throughout the levels, slain enemies and chests will replenish your stock of life, magic and weapons. Although good in theory, I had some small issue with this. I found occasionally that I was fighting a pack of enemies, but I ended up picking up coins off the floor rather than attacking, as both commands are assigned to the same button. It's not game breaking, but was something I had to keep my focus on. At the end of each stage you'll encounter a boss fight. These are both epic and challenging. I found that when I was fighting enemies like the Black Dragon, they just seemed very overpowered. One hit from the fire removes around a quarter of the life bar. As this is an arcade game, this is clearly to suck in the coins. True to the arcade, there are unlimited continues on offer. It's just a lot cheaper to play this home version. Typically at the end of each stage you're presented with a fork in the road. This is a great little feature as it expands the replay value greatly. It's worth replaying the game several times just to see all the places that you might have missed first time round. Between stages you enter the shop where you can stock up on life and weapons. You will also receive an update on your XP and level. In practice I found that this had little effect during the main gameplay. In terms of graphics, there's a nice mix of styles here. The story panels feature a distinct artwork style, whilst the in-game graphics are vibrant and appealing. In addition to this, the soundtrack is excellent. Scenes where you enter a new area with an unknown danger can be very cinematic. Scenes where you fight large monsters, the music also appears suitably dramatic. The game is a decent length, and I was suitably impressed having not played the series before. I was, however, not quite as impressed as I'd hoped I would be. I'd seen previous reviews of the game, and the gaming community really seemed to rate this game highly. I'm not sure whether it's because I'm not a regular D&D player or not, but I tend to feel that this game is a little overrated. The loading times also seemed a little excessive and more frequent than I thought I would have expected. I was also surprised that there were relatively few variants of attack. It's certainly a good game, but I would still pick the classic Turtles, Simpsons or Final Fight arcade games over it. It's not that the game wasn't enjoyable though, I think that it's a case that I had such high expectations for this one that I'd started to believe the hype. So I'm happy to apportion some of the blame on this one to me. Dungeons & Dragons Tower of Doom is a really good solid game, and I've enjoyed my time taking a look at it. It's nice that after playing games for so many years that there are still good quality games to discover. Be sure to check out part 2 where we take a look at the game's sequel, Shadow over Mystara. Will it be able to roll the dice and improve the beat 'em up formula? I'll also be addressing the thorny subject of the price of the game and what you'll have to pay to put this in your collection. Until next time, I'll leave you with a small montage from Tower of Doom. Hello again, I hope you enjoyed today's show and thank you for the view. Remember, you can always comment, like, subscribe and find us on the social media sites below. Happy collecting!